Many PT aspirants are complaining these days of getting low score in listening, and many are asking me in the class or through our chat why this is happening. Has there been any change in PT scoring criteria, and has the new score guide said anything about it? These are the things we are going to discuss in this video. Let's get it started. We have been providing online and face-to-face classes to people all over the world. If you are interested in learning more about the courses we are offering, you can click in the link given in the description. So let's talk about this problem. Why is this happening and what can we do about it? Now, if we look at the questions and listening, then what we can see is there are 8 different types of questions we get, which have been divided into 2 parts. Part 1 is summarized spoken text, and in part 2 we have got 7 different types of questions. The first thing you need to remember is in listening, not all of these questions are equally important. Some questions have more weightage, whereas the other questions are there just to test your different abilities that are not that important for your overall score. Not just that, you need to remember that your listening score comes from speaking as well. And some questions in speaking are specifically more important for your listening score. So let's look into this one by one. Let's start with the questions in listening which are important for your listening score. If we look at all the questions in listening, then out of all these questions, only 4 question types are important for listening as such, and the other 4 questions are not so important, and you can simply ignore them even if you're looking for more than 79 in your test. So which are these important questions in listening? The 4 most important questions in listening, in the order of their importance in increasing order, are fill in the blanks, highlight incorrect words, summarize spoken text, and write from dictation, which means write from dictation is the most important question here. And among these 4 questions, fill in the blanks will be the least important question. This is based on the difficulty level as well as the score we get from these questions. The other 4 question types, such as multiple choice question, single right answer, multiple choice question, multiple right answer, select missing word, and highlight correct summary. These questions are not so important for listening. Now, let's look at the questions from speaking as well. In speaking, we have 3 question types which can affect your overall score in listening. And these questions are repeat sentence, retell lecture, and short answer question. And if we put them in the order of their importance towards listening, then repeat sentence will be the most important question, followed by retell lecture, and short answer question, which some people call answer short questions, would be the last one. Now, we know which questions are important for listening. So let's put all of the important questions together. The 7 important questions to get high score in listening are repeat sentence, retell lecture, answer short questions, then summarize spoken text, fill in the blanks, highlight incorrect words, and write from dictation. Out of all of these questions, 2 question types are extremely important for your listening score, and you should aim to get more than 90% score in these 2 question types. These questions are write from dictation and repeat sentence. Now let's look at the factors which can affect our score in these 2 question types, write from dictation and repeat sentence. In repeat sentence, some people say that they can't get good score because of their memory. They can't remember the sentence, and that's why they don't get the score they look for. That's not entirely true. Although memory can be important to some extent, it's not all about memory. Think about this. If it had been about memory, then how can some people with limited memory be able to repeat the sentence without much problem, and others with really good memory who are doing really good in their studies struggle in this section? For example, I can do repeat sentence without any problem. Then if we accept that it's a test of memory, then that means my memory is really good. If it had been so, then I would be able to repeat any kind of sentences in any language. But if you say something in Chinese to me, most likely I'll not be able to repeat more than 1 or 2 words. Reason? Because I'm not familiar with the language. So it's not about memory. Yes, short-term memory helps, but it's not that important. It's actually about how familiar you are with the content, you are with the language. And what that means is you first need to know what kind of contents are used in repeat sentence so that you can improve your performance in this question type. And if we analyze the sentences they ask in repeat sentence, we can see that most of these sentences sound like the information or instructions given to new students in university, like where is the library, where is a particular department, how to submit assignment, how to extend the date of the assignment, what happens if you don't submit in time, how to provide references, how to find housing, and so on. So basically, if you analyze the past questions in the right way, then you can see that certain types of information repeat in the exam, certain types of phrases repeat in the exam. Now the characters might change, but these phrases will remain same. And that means if you can get a list of the commonly used phrases in repeat sentence, make yourself familiar with these phrases, and then practice the questions by using these phrases, then it will not be that difficult for you to do repeat sentence. For listening in particular, you also need to make sure that you are able to pronounce these commonly used phrases without much problem, because your pronunciation pretty much determines how much score you'll get in listening. And that's why, if you're struggling in listening, you need to make sure that you are doing well in repeat sentence. And in order to do that, you have to learn the common phrases used in your exam, as well as make sure that you can pronounce these phrases without much problem. Now, the next important question is write from dictation. Again, you can see that most of the questions of write from dictation are quite similar to repeat sentence. The only difference you'll find is sometimes write from dictation questions can be sometimes in write from dictation sentences can be quite long, and most often the words they use are more formal than the words they use in repeat sentence. In other words, write from dictation is almost similar to repeat sentence, but it is more formal and more structured. And that's why when you are preparing from write from dictation, you need to make yourself familiar with the commonly used academic phrases. Now, another difference is I told you that in repeat sentence, it's more about your pronunciation, or in other words, your pronunciation determines your listening score. In write from dictation, I would say it's your spelling or your grammar. And I would put more emphasis on spelling. The criteria of scoring in write from dictation is that you have to write each word correctly. That means you need to identify the word and then write it with correct spelling and in correct grammatical form. Now, grammatical form often depends on the context, or in other words, the context can help you to decide in which form to write even if you can't remember all the words. And spelling depends on your ability to spell the word. So what can be the common reasons people do not do well in this section? A very common reason that I have found is people misspell the words, and then after that they forget a few words in the middle and don't try to write them. And some other common problems like missing full stop at the end, not starting the sentence with capital letter, not using capital letter for names or the words which should be written in capital, and not being careful about the grammatical form of the words. Remember again, this is not a test of your memory. They are simply trying to find out how well you understand the language, especially the commonly used words, and whether you are familiar with the syntax of the sentences or not. That means if you are not familiar with how to structure the sentences or not able to make some cases when you can't remember all the words, then you will struggle in these question types. So what would be my suggestions? Now for both of these questions, first, make a list of the commonly asked phrases. Second, make sure that you can pronounce these words well and you can spell these words without a problem. Third, make sure that you have access to the commonly asked questions in the exam. That means many questions in this test repeat. So make sure that you have these questions. Even if you don't get the same sentence, most of the questions will be similar to what you will practice. You'll find all of these things on our online courses. So if you're wondering how to do this, where you can find this list of phrases and how you can make sure that you do it in the right way, you can trust us. Go to our online courses and do them. And if you need any help, you can get in touch with us. If you like this video, please hit the like button and share it with your friends. And in my next video, I'll try to pick up something important which might help you in your next exam. Until that time, have a good time and all the best for your upcoming exam.